Okay. So, and just for the record, Colleen's going to start doing minutes next month, but I'll just do them this month because it's easier than Henry having you jump in this month, like we had talked about.
Okay, that's good
Just
because
easier.
I don't even have a pen with me.
That's all right.
Couldn't get.
Okay. It is April 20th, 2022. It is 7:00 p.m. This is a meeting of the Nahant Conservation Commission, and this meeting is recorded. The first item on the agenda is the continued notice of intent for 12 Spouting Horn Road, DEP file number 0470595, construction of an in-ground swimming pool, patio, and stairwell for water access within coastal bank, land subject to coastal storm flowage and the buffer zone to coastal bank. They have requested another continuance. I am getting to the point where I think that perhaps they need to re-notify everybody. They filed this in December.
Mm-hmm.
And every month I have to hunt him down. I have to hunt the engineer down to request the documents, and I shouldn't have to do that. And this month he emailed me today asking for a continuance. So I don't know what you guys think, but it's kind of dragging on at this point with no progress made.
And I think it is clearly of interest to the property owners next door and conservation, the open space committee.
Right. We can require that they advertise. Maybe we'll give them one more month, and if they don't come, then they need to re-advertise, because I don't think it's fair to interested parties to have to keep checking every month to see what's going on. Okay, so they requested a continuance, so we will move on. Number 2, request for determination of applicability for 56 Valley Road, demolition of an existing garage, rear porch, and bulkhead, and construction of a new garage, rear porch, and bulkhead, and driveway within buffer zone to land subject to coastal storm flowage. Is there anybody here who would like to speak to that project?
Sure. I'm here, Steve Pretty. I'm here to speak on this property.
Okay, cool. You want to give us an overview?
Sure. The current owner, Muffin Pellegrino, is interested in the garage that exists and I think if you have the drawings, you can kind of see what the existing is if you put the existing next to the proposed. The garage that exists that's right behind the house, tucked in the back left corner of the property, is very difficult to actually pull a car into it. So it's okay for storing things, boats and things, small things, and landscape equipment, but can't really get a car into it. And her desire is to have the garage in a spot on the lot where you could pull straight into it from the driveway as it's shown on the drawing. I can share my screen if that would be helpful.
Yeah, sure. Let me just allow it real quick.
Okay.
So what's going on here? Okay, you should be all set. Excuse me.
Okay, great. Thanks. So this is the simplest way to look at the property site plan and the proposed changes to hardscape and the garage with where the garage currently is. So on the left is the existing garage and driveway, and on the right is the proposed changes. And so the garage would actually be connected to the house with a covered walkway. And the steps to get up onto a porch on the back would be elongated along the back of the house. And then there would be an additional set of stairs down to the backyard. In this plan, we're also proposing to, I keep jumping and I apologize. I keep wanting to hit the control button to zoom in, but anyway, I will try to. need to do that either. Sorry. There's also a bulkhead, which is in poor condition and is a source of water infiltration into the house and under the house. So we'd like to, as part of this plan, rebuild the bulkhead in essentially the same location as it is currently. And then the owner is also hoping to install a generator along the back, and latest inclination was to basically rotate the generator so that it doesn't project into the yard as much, just turn it 90 degrees to the way it's shown on the drawing. And then this blue shaded area along the side would be something that to the nature of a tough track, which would be a pervious grid, like a hard plastic grid, so that she could, if she had visitors or family coming to see her, that she could have them park on the grass without it leaving ruts, but it's not an impervious surface. So that would increase the ability of her to get other people to park and be able to get another car past it in that event. The other thing is she has the current stair sort of located getting to the driveway, but I think she's going to, the latest is that she would probably leave the stair where it is on the plan, shown on the existing plan at the front entry. And then I think we have some real elevations here of what the garage would look like, side elevation and then a front elevation from the street, and then one from the back showing the connection to the house.
So overall, is this, how much of an increase in impervious surface are we talking about?
Oops, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna see if I can.
So the garage is a tiny bit bigger.
Yes, I think the overall, the lot coverage goes from 3,596 to 3,459. If we're not including the tough track parking area,
Right.
but the overall it's a reduction in impervious area. Now, I did not include the footprint of the generator itself, which would probably be another 30 square feet for the footprint of that
It'll
pad.
just be on a small pad back there.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
So essentially we're talking about,
About the same.
oh, pretty close to the same.
Okay.
A reduction maybe of about 50 square feet all told.
Okay. Are there any rules about property line setbacks for generators? I'm just curious, because it would be noise right in somebody's yard.
I believe there are, I'm not sure about the municipal of Nahant's regulations with regard to, or Nahant's, I should say, noise level. We are looking at the Kohler models, which are the lowest sound emitters of the generators of the size that she's looking at. I believe I've looked at others, and this one is, I can't quote the number off the top of my head, and I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was just curious.
Yeah.
I think the biggest concern with generators is the heat, so it has to be away from the building. I think that's the only thing that the town.
Correct. Yeah, there's a 3-foot clearance around the of non-combustible material around that it can't be closer than 3 feet to a house or a combustible material, I believe. Is that what you're referring to, or?
Yeah, I think that's.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah.
So that would kind of impact the tree. The plan shows some trees. Question I had, I mean, I'm looking at overall. And
yep.
The before and after, the before doesn't show, there's some huge, looks like some very large cedars or arboreta or something in the back corner of that property, which probably have been absorbing water. And I guess a big tree was taken down in the front. So it seems like there's going to be less water absorption on the property than historically was there.
Because of the plantings,
Yeah,
the trees.
right.
I do know that the owner is interested in planting new trees. The ones that were there, especially that were sort of along the curb of the driveway itself, were not in good health in particular. And I know there was one that was right next to the garage that was sort of grown through the fence that was there, sort of around the fence. So, but she is interested in replanting new trees to work with the new landscape plan so that she would have some, would contribute to that condition.
But the garage would clearly wipe out the big ones that are in the back corner of the property. I assume those are on her property.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have that. I know there was one tree that was right on the existing property that was right here that I think was taken down. That was the one I'm referring to that was grown through right next to the fence that separates the property from the neighbor's yard in the back. But I'm unaware of large trees in this area that have to be removed. I think most of the other trees that are here are on the neighbor's property.
Yeah, I couldn't, it was hard to tell. They're doing the new roof, and so the whole driveway and everything else was covered with construction, right? I just looked at it from the street.
I see. And a driveway. Yeah. Okay.
So,
I got you.
and I just noticed in the back corner, there were some nice look, pretty large trees, which even if they're on the owner's property, I'm sorry, if they're on the neighbor's property, question is whether the garage would be destroying their roots and things.
I see. Yeah, I didn't have in my notes that we were going to have a considerable impact on the trees, but I can find that out.
Are they planning to put gutters on the garage, the new garage?
Yes, I would think so. Yes, to control the runoff.
Can we pipe them into a dry well?
Sure.
Kind of as some stormwater.
Yep.
Compensation.
Absolutely.
Okay, that would be great.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions, concerns, comments?
I guess this is really all but one corner of the property is within 100-foot buffers. It's not directly in the wetland area. But I guess since this is requesting whether it's applicable or not, it means the neighbors aren't notified of this discussion tonight.
They weren't directly notified, but an ad was put in the newspaper.
Okay. Good.
And I know the owner has talked to all her abutting neighbors about what she's planning to do.
Good.
And someone did ask me for a copy of the plans. Okay, does anybody else have any?
I guess the only other one would be, obviously we can't force it, but have they considered doing a pervious surface of some sort for the driveway?
For the entire driveway?
Yeah.
I believe she was interested in something that would withstand, snow removal and was assuming that she wanted concrete. She is open to more attractive options than that. But you're referring to something like the tough track or something like that type of installation.
If I may,
Sure.
I did talk to her today. She was entertaining a driveway of basically just 2 concrete runners for tires, and filling in grass with the rest. So that might be an option too for us to look at.
Yep, and that's an attractive solution to
Yeah.
reduce the amount of ground coverage. So would that suffice, you think, in terms of the primary straight run?
I mean, I think we'd prefer to see that, but I'm not sure we should dictate. I mean, overall, it's the same or less than what's there now. So she's not making things worse. So I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of dictating to people how they have their driveways.
But
Um,
and I wouldn't say, I would say she would definitely be open to that, I would think. Was
I
that
think
her?
longer term, less impervious is going to be in her best interest. I mean, this is an
course.
area that the floodplain isn't very far.
Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
So in the future, she's going to have water problems probably. So the less impervious she has, probably the better in the long run.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
And Mark, if you want, do you want to require that she plant trees for the ones she takes down?
I'd like to see it. I mean, since we don't
Obviously
really
not
know
the
what
same
the plan
size.
is for the ones up in the top, but trees would definitely help.
Yep.
Um,
Is there a town arborist? I'm sorry, I'm unfamiliar, or anybody who would sort of work with her on that?
we-
We could help her come up with some suggestions if she's interested.
Okay.
We have an arborist, but he just looks at town trees as far as removal.
Okay. Yep. Got it. Okay. So the concern is that is in addition to protecting and being mindful of the root systems of the existing trees that are to remain, is a replanting option as well, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, what do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I think, I mean, they actually show some on the plans up here, but it's just, little circles.
Right.
And,
That's
and-
just as, yeah.
and since I don't really know what the situation is on the big, I mean, there's 2 or 3 large arboreta that are on the corner of the property, the back corner. Where roughly where the garage is going to be. So, I mean, I think my concern there was just either whether they're on their property or the owners, is to see if they can manage not to cut the roots and
Right.
kill those, because they're going to screen the garage, and they look pretty healthy from the,
Sure.
looking at them from Valley Road. I wasn't back
Mhm.
there looking at them directly.
Well, maybe we can, the number that get taken down for the garage, she can replace. I mean, obviously
Okay.
they won't be huge trees
Right.
like starting over, but I mean, I don't know specifically how many that is.
And I'm
Right.
not sure they are the garage may be to the side of them anyway, but.
Hmm. Well, we can
had a
check
couple-
that out, and
Yeah.
I think there's a formula for the root
Yeah.
extension based on the diameter at breast height of the tree itself, right?
Right.
To sort of figure out if we want to, so if we do impact the root field, it's minimal, or as minimal as we can make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we also, I mean, I also long-term don't want her to have problems with her garage because
Sure. Right.
there's a tree right there.
Yep.
If the trees are what I think they are, looking at them from the street, they're not wide spreading root systems, they're pretty much straight up and down.
Hmm.
Okay. Anything else? Anyone from the
I think
public
it's,
wish to chime in? Okay, so looking for a negative determination with the requirements that gutters be installed on the garage into a dry well, and that there's be some replacement for the trees that are cut for the new garage location.
And I guess just to the extent possible, minimizing the pervious soil options on the driveway if possible.
hmm.
Yeah, explore alternative
Yeah.
driveway options.
Hmm.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to issue a negative determination?
I so move.
Thank you, Henry. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Go ahead, Tom. Tom second.
Thank you, Tom. Okay. Excuse me. Henry, how do you vote? Yea or nay?
In favor.
Tom?
In favor of negative.
Mark in favor.
And Kristen in favor. Okay. All right, we're all set. Thank you. I'll let you
Okay,
know when the permit's ready.
Great. Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Thank you.
You too.
Okay, next up is the request for determination of applicability for 63 Willow Road in invasive species management within land subject to coastal storm flowage and bordering vegetated wetlands. So this is, oh, Henry, you weren't able to join us that day. We
Yeah.
went and looked
All right.
at the yard, and basically what we kind of agreed was that he can cut and manage the Phragmites in the rear. Oh, Steve, is he on here? I don't want to speak for him.
I'm on.
Hi. Feel free to chime in if you want. So we talked about, managing the Phragmites in the rear and removing the debris that's back there and that has come in from various storms. And then kind of long-term, once it's gotten under control a little bit, planting native trees and things to kind of help take over the area. And to stop mowing the back grass section behind the shed. It was kind of where we landed on things. Does anybody have any? I think that's a good solution. It'll kind of let him keep working on it like the neighbor, trying to manage the Phragmites back there, get it under control without, turning it into a lawn. So I'm cool with it. I don't know how everybody else feels about it.
Okay.
Anybody have any thoughts?
I mean, they've got the description in here, planting some native trees, willows and stuff. to absorb
Yeah.
the water.
I think it'll be nice, particularly because those two properties are next to each other, the one that we had come before us previously. And so I think it'll kind of start to make a dent in the Phragmites in that area, which I think in the long term will be nice. And then if people want to keep doing it, maybe eventually they can get rid of all of it. Okay, if everybody is cool with that, then do I hear a motion to issue a negative determination?
I'll move.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor, Henry?
I so move. For a negative. Oh, sorry, in favor, sorry.
Yes, that's cool. Tom?
Yes,
Mark?
I'm in favor, Mark.
Okay, and I am in favor. Okay, passes unanimously. So I'm going. Okay, number 4, the enforcement order for 63 Willow Road, lift enforcement order for work and resource areas without a permit. Since they came before us and we are going to issue a permit, do I hear a motion to lift the enforcement order?
So move.
Thank
You
you.
did say 64, right? Hello.
60, I don't
it's
know,
the same property as the previous.
60,
Right, yeah.
it's 64, right? I don't know where I got
64. It
60.
is 64. I wasn't sure what you said.
Something says 63 on it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Sorry, 64.
Yeah.
Okay, Tom, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Okay, all in favor, Henry,
I'm in favor.
Tom,
In favor.
Mark?
Favor.
I'm in favor, passes unanimously. It is lifted. Okay, and that is everything on the agenda. Is there anything anybody else wishes to discuss?
We have an observer tonight, Skylar Tibbetts. I just introduced him to people because.
Hi.
Any questions from watching our short meeting?
What did you say?
I said, do you have any questions from watching our short meeting tonight?
No. It was interesting. Thanks for letting me look on and listen.
We try to be efficient when we can.
Yeah, it was great.
Keep it
So do you
short.
guys receive, you have like a packet and then you know what's happening for each meeting and you kind of review that beforehand?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gave him Eden's copy to Skylar so he could see what it looked like. Dropped it off
Yeah.
at his house.
And
And
so
then, I mean, you
then,
can go look online. I looked on, for example, I went online to the town GIS system to kind of look at this property to see if I, that was, then I was able to see that it was in 100-foot buffer for the flood zone. One little piece of the flood zone was on the corner, but basically it was in buffer land. It wasn't
Yeah.
wasn't directly in a flooded area and things like that.
Mm.
The one sort of unrelated to Skylar, but this is another situation where the building permit does not indicate whether it's in a flood zone or not. That little box is empty.
Yep.
Is there any chance we can tell people, I mean, have the building department say if they don't either answer that question, they can't get a building permit?
I think technically, I think they need to change the question because technically it's not in a buffer zone. I mean, it's not in a floodplain. It's in the buffer
Right.
zone to floodplain. So that's why
Yeah.
it didn't get caught. Or they did the right thing, but we had somebody on the top of Sunset Road that wanted to put in a pool that got a pool permit because they're like, it's at the top of the hill. It's not in conservation, but it was. And so I only caught it because I saw the dig safe and it ends up they're not going to be able to put a pool in because they have nowhere to pump out for the winter. So they're not going to be able to put in a pool. But we gotta work with the building department to find a better solution so that we're catching things a little bit better.
I mean, the other question I have when I go to the town GIS system, we actually, if you go there, there are 4 different flood zone options for overlays. I mean, there's the most recent FEMA approved, the previous FEMA approved, the one that's has nothing to do with FEMA. So, I mean, if I were the homeowner trying to answer that question, I'm not sure which one of those 4 overlays I'd look at to get the answer to the question.
Yeah, it's the top one, and I don't know. I mean, I guess we need to talk to Sheila, the assessor, about. She's the one that manages that data.
Mhm.
So we would have to talk to her about making it more clear which one includes that information.
I mean, I think they all have that information, but it's not the same.
They don't. Well, yeah, that's which one's the newest one that we go by.
I mean, they all identify flood zones and VE and the different codes for them, but they don't.
Either that or we need to put it on the conservation page, which directing people which one to use as to reference. So yeah, we can do that. Okay.
I just had a curious question. The town was talking about restoring the dune along Short Beach.
Yeah.
Has anything progressed on that front?
It's out to bid, I believe.
So
They're moving along.
do we, as the Conservation Commission, should we contemplate, or if we can, some sort of a fine schedule so that we can try and keep people from walking, damaging the dune in any way, not just walking, but
Yeah.
that's something, how do we go about something like that?
Yes, I'm happy you brought that up because not for that, but I do want to implement a fine schedule. That gets us away from the tickets and because the tickets aren't very effective. We can do that. We just have to have a public meeting and talk about it. We have to advertise it on the website and have a public meeting and talk about it. And then we can implement it and then we vote. So that's something we can do. So why don't I'll take a look at some neighboring towns and see what their fine schedule is. And then we'll just base it on what other people are doing. I mean, it's not that we're trying to be punitive, but we want people to cut it out. Especially if we're about to spend a couple $1 million restoring a dune.
Right.
So, okay, well, I
So when
will.
you said that
take a
that
look.
was out to bid, do they come back with different proposals of what they're gonna do? Or do they have one proposal and one cost estimate, or how does it work?
So they came to us already with a proposal of what they want to do. And so they're
Mm.
going to put it out to bid. And then basically, I think they're going to see how much they can do with the amount of money that they have.
Gotcha.
They'd like to do all of the Short Beach dune, but they don't have enough money. So
Mhm.
we're going to kind of piecemeal it as we can afford it.
And does it include like vegetation as well as whatever sand and yeah?
Yep, we're going to plant dune grass.
Yeah, it's primarily vegetation and then some sand where they identified trying to match the gravel and the sand to what's there.
Yeah.
And then
And
the
kind of
other,
at the end near the playground, they're going to raise the height by a couple feet.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be a big change.
and then the other one that they pointed out, which was pretty interesting, was, but the playground at the end before you get to Little Nahant, Skylar, there's a little playground there.
Yep.
If you go out that way and go down the ramp points toward the northeast. And the recommendation is move the ramp so it points to the northwest instead.
we've been wanting them to do
So,
that.
The
for
natural,
years.
the native storms don't just wash up the ramp. It'll be coming the other direction, which occurred to me when we were walking on Dave Aldrich's property on that beach, that if the ramp were to collapse, the ramp that they need to reopen were to collapse, if you made it going the other way, you could probably, if it went the other way, it would be a little harder for the DPW to get their trucks down and turn around, but
Yeah,
it would sort of be the same thing. You wouldn't have the water washing up during a storm coming up directly up everybody's, flooding that part of Willow Road.
And who implements it? Is it like a Army Corps or something, or is it like a private company that implements it?
so for the Short Beach project, we'll hire a contractor and they'll kind of be overseen by, we had an engineer that designed it, a coastal ecologist or coastal engineer, and they'll be overseeing it. And then we hold the permit for it. So we make sure that they comply with the various things that we approved, and that we added a bunch of conditions to it.
Oh, nice.
So it's kind of a joint effort.
Great.
So that'll be coming in the next couple months. So in the interim, I'll find a fine schedule that we can take a look at. And maybe at the next meeting, we can talk about a couple different models and decide which one we want to do. And then the following meeting, we can have a public meeting to discuss it. And then we can accept it. Okay. Anything else from anyone? Okay, cool. Thank you for joining us, Skylar.
Yeah,
Nice to
pleasure to
meet
meet
you.
everyone. Yeah, thanks. Yes.
Can I have a motion to dismiss?
I'll move.
Thank you.
I'll
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Good deal. Thank you, guys. See
Right
you
on.
next
Thank you.
month. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Good night.